Today I have with me one of the cheaper machines that I've really reviewed on the channel, and that is this Gevi, I believe is the way that you pronounce this brand. This machine was sent to me free of charge in exchange for a review. They did give some stipulations on they wanted to turn around back in May. They sent it before I agreed to anything, and I wasn't going to do a turnaround that quickly, and they also wanted a draft of it. So basically this is August. I've had the machine for a few months now. I haven't used it constantly throughout that time because I have a lot of other machines that I test, but I did use it enough to get an opinion on it. So I want to pull a shot on this thing and I want to talk about it here just a little bit. I just now realized that as I was prepping this, I used the wrong portafilter. So currently I have a portafilter that goes to a different machine and it's a little nicer. So we're just going to make sure that fits fine, and it does. And we're going to pull a shot on it so you can get a see of that real quick. I have the Buku scale and a Crew cup here. So there's 4 buttons on the top of this machine. There's a power button, a 1 cup button, and a 2 cup button. We're going to do a manual shot here, which is going to be 18 grams of coffee, and we're going to aim for 36 to 42 out. So let's give that a shot here. And there you go. You're getting some nice crema out of this. We're going to talk a little bit more about the portafilter as we go on and the results that come along with that. And we're getting there. There you go. And we're going to be just at 42 out. Maybe just, yep, exactly 42. Maybe a few drips coming out here still. And then we got this nice shot that I'm sure it's going to taste really terrible because these beans are a little old, but nevertheless, we're going to drink it anyway. Not the greatest shot, but not the worst. But keep in mind, this machine is rather cheap here. So we got the steam wand here, and we have basically kind of a hot water thing, and then a regular steam thing, and you can pull it off, and you get this little kind of fancy gray piece, but nevertheless, we're going to try it with what the machine actually tells you to do, which is pull it with this automatic steamer. So in other words, with this automatic steamer, it will steam the milk for you. You still have to hold it. It'll steam the milk for you and froth it for you, but you do have to shut it off automatically. And I'm going to show you exactly kind of what that looks like in the terms of quality when it comes out for it. So it does take a little bit for that to heat up. So I want to pour my shot in this clear glass by Fellow, just so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And oh, there's also a key thing that you have to do here, and that is flip this little lever on the side. And then that's going to start the steaming process, and it's going to get a little loud. Okay, now that I've got my milk steamed, I want to show you what it looks like. So I got this little clear glass here. And one of the things that a lot of people often ask for is, can this do latte art? And a lot of that depends on who is pouring and their talent that they have with it. So, in other words, this automatically steamed it. All I did was shove it in there. There's a little bit of contrast in there. It tastes like a latte should taste, for that matter. So it doesn't steam milk the best is kind of where I want to go with it. In other words, if you take the time and you mess with it and you take and remove this automatic frother off, it's actually easier to manually steam without this auto frother in order to get that microfoam that you need in order to make latte art. Now this machine comes in at about $150, and I have used and owned machines up to over $4,000 and everywhere in between. So this is definitely on the cheaper side of equipment that I use, and I've reviewed a few other ones in this kind of price point category. I've reviewed a Casa Brews, I've reviewed a Toonie one, and behind me on right here kind of like exactly behind me where you can't really see a ton. I have this one by Wish, or something like that. And that came in about the same time as this, and it's about the same price point. So I want to highlight a few of the differences here. So with this Gevi, you get this pressure gauge on the center here to kind of give you an idea of what pressure it's at, but it also gives you this portafilter. This portafilter is called a pressurized portafilter. Let's see if I can pop that out. It's definitely kind of messy, but if you see here on the bottom, there's just one hole, and then there's a bunch of little holes on the inside there. That is what is known as a pressurized portafilter. And the thing about a pressurized portafilter, maybe this will be a little bit better of an example. So a pressurized portafilter is going to have a few holes on the back of it. So you can see how there's like a few tiny holes on it. In this case, this machine has one hole on it. So a pressurized portafilter, what's going to happen is regardless of the size of your grinds, think sand versus rocks. So if you have sand, water is going to take a longer time to get through sand. If you have big boulders, the water is going to move a lot quicker through it because there's less resistance. So basically, grind size matters. So if you have a nice grinder, that allows you to get that consistency more like sand, where it's easier to create resistance based off of the thickness of the coffee grounds. If you don't have a good grinder, you will kind of be grinding in the sense of like boulders where water is a lot easier to get through the coffee grounds. This ends up making your espresso shot come out super fast and not give you that like kind of foamy texture called crema on the top of it, and doesn't give you a very good extraction. That's where non-pressurized baskets come into play, and a non-pressurized basket looks like this. So you can see there's a ton of different holes in there, and then on the inside just looks like that. So a lot of different holes on there, so that means you have to create the correct pressure, because this basket does that for you, because there's less ways that the water can get out versus this one a lot more. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, ask some more questions in the comments below. I'd love to walk you through that. But this machine comes with just a pressurized portafilter. So if you're somebody who wants to get into coffee and you don't want to mess around with learning to steam milk, you don't want to mess around with buying a coffee grinder, this machine is going to more or less be up your alley, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's going to be able to do a passable job for everything. If you're someone who really wants to get in the hobby, drink straight shots of espresso, you're going to want to invest in a grinder, things like that, maybe this isn't the machine for you. If you want to learn how to have good quality textured milk, again, maybe not the machine for you. At the same price point, you can get something that feels a little bit more durable, feels a little bit more nicer put together, and will require you to have a grinder and give you a better steaming experience. That can be great for you, or it could be terrible for you depending on what you need. So for me personally, I'm not a fan of the portafilter, and I'm not a fan of the steam one. If they gave me a better portafilter with a non-pressurized basket that didn't seem cheap, or at least a different option for it, and if they gave me just a traditional steam wand, which is a common thing on machines at this price point, then I would be a little more apt to personally use it. Because I'm one of those persons who want to get the best quality out of what I purchase, and I don't want just a sweet coffee drink in the morning. I typically want to drink a shot of espresso. So that's kind of where I land. At the $100 to $150 price point, it's not a bad value. I'm not going to say stay clear of this machine, but I feel like the Toonie one that I recently reviewed on this channel is about the same price point, and it's just so much better built and comes with a steaming pitcher and comes with a nice tamper that this doesn't have for you. And I personally would just rather spend my money there. If you have this machine, I wouldn't say you necessarily need to walk around and upgrade pretty quickly from it. It just kind of depends on what your needs are, and that's, I think, one of the nice things about coffee as a whole, is it can really suit whatever you want it to suit you. If you really want to dive down the rabbit hole and spend $10,000 on a machine and a grinder and have all these apps and things to do with it to really get the most out of your coffee and to learn the most about it, you can do that. If you don't want that and you want easy and quick, but a little bit more than just like a pod machine, like an espresso, you can spend $150 and you can get that here, and you won't be really disappointed. But for me, I'm not the target audience for this. I'm not going to not recommend it, but if I was spending money, I would buy something different. Not because the machine's bad, but just because I feel like the one by Toonie has better abilities and better feel and better build quality over this for the same price point. So it just kind of makes more sense on that. But you will kind of run into some problems if you didn't have a good grinder for the Toonie, but you can spend $150 and get a good grinder and you'll be a happy camper. But I would love to know your thoughts on this. Again, Gevi sent this over to me. They're probably not going to be super thrilled with the fact that I'm recommending a different machine. So that's how you know my reviews are completely unbiased, is because I won't take a paid promotion on a product where they pay me to give a good review. I won't send them a draft of my video beforehand. That's just not how I do things. I'm doing this YouTube channel for the benefit of you and getting you the best equipment that meets your needs. I'm also doing it to the benefit of me of getting to play around with these machines and have a nice equipment at home. It's a fun hobby. So if you want to support that hobby, use the link below when purchasing gear, because I'll make some commission at no extra charge to you, and make sure you like and subscribe. That's a free thing. Doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps grow this channel and gives me opportunities to have things like this sent to me so I don't have to spend the money, so you can get a good opinion and some good thoughts on it. Thank you so much for watching.